dependent variable. Now that's kind of a simplified version. This can obviously get way more complicated. And so what we're looking at this week is what's called a factorial design, where we have multiple independent variables. And so we're looking at things like interactions and what kind of designs can we use, like a factorial design, to test these interactions, and how can they kind of be interpreted? What are the variations that we can see? And you can see we have different kinds of graphs and different levels here. So it's getting a little bit more complicated this week. But so I gave you some information here. Make sure you read through all of this. Hopefully it's a little bit helpful. On the Beyond the Book page, I have a little bit of a closer look at factorial designs, some advantages and disadvantages, a little video kind of explaining them a little bit, which I hope will be helpful. I would definitely consider watching that. On the last page, you have all of the key terms that you need to know for this chapter. So everything from chapter 12 that you'll need to know for the next exam. So make sure, as always, that you read the chapter in the book, and then don't forget to read through my lecture and then watch the lecture video where I'm lecturing to PowerPoint slides about that topic. All of that together is going to help you to understand it and incorporate that knowledge, and then that will help you for the discussion for this week, which is discussion number 11. So let's go take a look at that for a moment. And as always, you have my instructions up here at the top. You have my little introductions video here to this, which I would definitely recommend that you watch, give you some tips and suggestions. But what we're looking at here is a study. Strayer and his students tested whether people would get better at driving while talking on a cell phone if they practiced doing so. They had participants drive in a simulator while talking on a hands-free phone and while not talking on a phone. The same people participated over several days, so they had a chance to practice this multitasking. On the first day, they were considered to be the least experienced. On the last day, the most experienced. On the last day, they were tested in both a familiar environment and a slightly different driving environment to see if those first few days of practice would transfer over to a new context. The researchers collected data on how many collisions or accidents they got into in the simulator, and here is that data. So you can see here number of collisions on day 1, day 4 in a familiar context, and day 4 in a new context. And then we had single task, which is not using a phone, and dual task, which is using a phone. So you can see how there's a little bit more data here, right? We're looking at a couple of different things happening, and here is your data. So you're going to answer these questions related to this about the study, and really should be a great way to incorporate what you've learned in chapter 12. What kind of design is this? Put your answer in a blank by blank format. What are the independent variables and their levels? So there's more than one. Okay, so what is the independent variable and the levels of it? What is the dependent variable and how is it being measured? I want you to create, either by computer or by hand, a little line graph depicting the results that are shown here. And you're going to upload your image into this. And you can use, again, your like you can draw this out or you can put it in a computer. It's up to you. I'd like you to estimate and describe any main effects and interactions in this study. So you would need statistics to calculate a specific effect, but you can kind of estimate based on your line graph and comparing that to the ones that are in the book and kind of talk about what that might mean. And what could you conclude from the results of this study? Does experience affect cell phone use while driving? How can you take what is up here and talk about what that might mean? And again, you're kind of estimating, you're not like talking about a specific like number, but what are your general conclusions that you could potentially draw? So you're going to reply to my questions here. Don't forget to also reply to a classmate. Like if you like the way Grace did her graph, you could reply to that and so on. And then you also, as always this week, sorry, keeps jumping around here on me. We'll have an extra credit question that I'll give you in a moment. I will post the recording of this, and then you have your little wrap-up checklist like always. I do have a couple of kind of quick reminders for you, and again, I'm sorry that we're doing this at a different time today, so I imagine a lot of you are watching this as a recording later. I have to go to a meeting at 12:30. I would much rather be here with you, so I'm sorry for those of you who weren't able to make it to this time. I know it's a very like busy time of day. But a couple of quick reminders for you. Please make sure that you take a moment to double check your subscription status. As we kind of round into week 11, a lot of you have definitely fallen off. So if you could just double check that, I would appreciate it. The other reminder that I have for you, and I'll put this here in the chat, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, November 1st at 12:30 p.m. Okay, hard to believe again that we will be in November next week, but we will be. Gosh, for some reason, I don't understand why it does not want me to post this stuff in the chat. So I will just type it here, or forgive me for 1 second. Live stream will be on Wednesday, November 1st at 12:30 p.m. Okay, so that will be our next live stream. That will be for week number 12. Let me also give you the Twitch extra credit question so that you can answer that if you are interested in getting 2 points. And remember, if you're watching this later as a recording, as long as you are subscribed, you can still go ahead and still answer that on Canvas. And if your subscription ended or fell off, you feel free to renew that, which was the first reminder here. But here's the extra credit question for this week. What is the difference between a main effect and an interaction effect? What is the difference between a main effect and an interaction effect? And what you can do is you can go back onto Canvas. And since we are in week number 11, you'll go to optional Twitch extra credit number 11 right here and click on that. And then up here at the top, you can click on Start Assignment. And that's going to bring up this box where you can type your response. And once you have typed that all out and you feel good about it, you can hit submit and get your little confetti burst and medals. Very exciting today. And that's going to get you hopefully those 2 points of extra credit. And again, wonderful that so many of you have been doing this all semester. It adds up to a lot of points. So definitely something that you can take advantage of. And I'm glad so many of you have. I will obviously post this recording, which I'm sure a lot of you are watching in a little bit here. I need to do the download and upload, but I will have that posted. If there are any questions, what I will do is hang out for a little while and I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you afterward, but I hope you have a wonderful Halloween if you do celebrate. I have been eating a ridiculous amount of candy. Look, I have it everywhere. I have my candy all over the place here, which probably isn't the best, but I love Halloween so much. I am planning on dressing up as Indiana Jones, and my kids are going to dress up, and we'll go trick-or-treating, and I am definitely looking forward to a weekend of candy. So I hope all of you have a wonderful week. Please be safe and take care of yourselves, and I will hope to see you next week on Wednesday for our next live stream at our normal time. So I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while. If any of you do have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week.